All right, welcome back everybody to our series on CSEC Quadratics. So we are on session 20, all right, and this is for those of you who stuck out this long and decided to go through the entire course. I hope that it's going well for you all so far and that you learn something out of this because that's the whole point of it, to make the life of some people easier when it comes to this topic. All right, so now the section that we all know is one called sketching a quadratic curve using vertex form. Right now, first of all, we need to know what is vertex form, right? Because all the time we talk about completing the square, right? So what is vertex form? Right now, let's go to some example, right? I'm gonna show you what I mean here. Let's say they ask us to complete the square. Complete the square of, all right, let's go with um 2x squared plus, that's what an easy one, 8x minus 3. Good, so we want to complete the square. So for those of you all who are not sure about completing the square, right, go back to the last three videos, the last three sessions would have been how to complete the square. So we want to complete the square here. So first thing we know, we need to get this, the coefficient of x squared to be 1. So you factor out the 2, but only out of the terms in x, not out of the constant by itself. So you leave that constant outside it. All right, the next step now is on the terms inside, you find b over 2 b over 2, so that's 4 over 2, and you square that, and you add it onto the expression inside the brackets, but then you misbalance the expression here. So we rebalance our expression now to also subtract that same term that we added on there, minus 3. Now, if you don't understand why I'm doing what I'm doing here, please go back in the last three videos and you will see why. I don't want you all to be lost here and want to know, well, why it is doing this for, right? Go back and you will see why. Now, this here will be broken down into x plus 2 all squared minus 2 squared is 4 minus 3. And now, when we expand the brackets, you will get 2 by the brackets is 2 into x plus 2 squared, and 2 by minus 4 is minus 8, but minus 8 minus 3 is minus 11. So that's this here. Now, if you think back and if you go back to all of the completed squares that we did, you would notice that they all look like this. Some number into this brackets where you have x plus some other number squared minus some other number. So vertex form, this is vertex form here. Vertex form is y, when you have an equationary form, y is equal to e into x plus h squared plus k. So this is just another way to rewrite your quadratic equation. So this is what you call the vertex form of a quadratic, a quadratic, right? A into x plus 8 squared plus k. So you could rewrite any quadratic. This is what you call the general form. Right, let me write that here. This is what you call general form. Right, and this here is what you call the vertex form. Now the question is, why do we call it vertex form? Now, just one side note, a lot of teachers will call this the completed square form. Is not correct, but it is not fully correct. It's not wrong, sorry, but it's also not fully correct. Completing a square is just one technique you use to go from general form into vertex form. There are two other ways called the formula method and the expand and compare method, and I will do those later down for you all, right? But this is completing the square method far superior to the other two methods, right? So this here is your vertex form. Now, um, why do we call this vertex form? The interesting thing about when you put something in this form, which is completed square form or into vertex form, you could use this to get all of the things to sketch the graph. Remember, 4 or 5 lessons ago, you would have learned about the important points that you need off of a graph before you could sketch it. Right? This, you could use this to sketch that graph, but we'll get into that in a little while. Right? What we want to do now, I just want to make sure that you all know how to identify the important elements of vertex form, right? So let's say, for example, identify. Now, you're not going to get a question like this, but I want to make sure you all know how to do this. Identify AH and K. AH and K in 1. So let's do a few of these. Y is equal to 3 into x minus 5 squared minus a half. Right, so let's see if it is we can do this here now. We want to identify E, H, and K in this. So if you notice, E is the number outside the brackets. In this case, E is 3. Right, so E is equal to 3. H is the number inside the brackets. So H in this case is equal to negative 5. And lastly, K, sorry, is the number just outside the brackets. So this will give you the number, adding or subtracting the brackets. So this will give you minus a half. Very easy, not too bad. Right, so this is just identifying. Now, to make sure you all know how to identify the numbers. Let's go again. Let's go with y is equal to x plus a quarter squared plus 3. Alright, so let's try this one here now. What is E? Now, E is the number that the bracket is being multiplied by. The terms in the bracket is being multiplied by. There's no number outside here, but it doesn't mean that this bracket doesn't have a coefficient. The coefficient here is 1. When you don't see a number, just like when we have, let's say, a W, W doesn't mean W by itself. It means 1 of how much ever W is. So similarly, the brackets by itself doesn't just mean 0. It means 1. So A in this case is 1. H is the number inside the brackets, which is a quarter. And K is the number added or subtracted, which is 3 in this case here. There's 2 more again. Number 3, y is equal to 4 minus x plus 5 whole squared. Alright, so let's think about this one. Feel free to pause the video for a few seconds. You think about what A, H, and K is, and then write it down and check out if you answer correct. Right, so if you pause the video and you're thinking about it, so look carefully. A lot of people say A is 4, right, because A is the first number, but notice I'm not saying that A is the first number. A is the number that is just outside, that the brackets is being multiplied by, right, that the contents of the brackets is being multiplied by. So in this case, E is this number here, but we don't see a number. But remember what I just said. That means that the number is really 1. So in this case, E is negative 1. H is equal to 5. And K is equal to, this is, excuse me, K is equal to 4. Yeah, because K is this number here. This is negative 1 into the brackets. I could rewrite this as plus 4. So be very careful with this here. Now, another mistake people will make here. So 4 minus 1 is 3. So why isn't A 3? Sorry. Remember, this is multiply here. According to BODMAS, multiplication comes before subtraction. So you can't do the subtraction first. So you have to consider this is minus 1 multiplied by this. And then you are adding 4 to that overall thing. Right? And last one, no. Let's go with y is equal to negative 2/3 into x minus 6 all squared plus 2. Right, again, in this case here, A is the number that the brackets is multiplied by. So in this case, that is negative 2/3. H is equal to negative 6. And K is equal to 2. Yeah. Now, if a question asks you to rewrite, example, rewrite in the form, so rewrite 4x squared plus 8x minus 3 minus 8x minus 3 in the form a into x plus 8 squared plus k. Now, CSEC doesn't really call this vertex form. I don't know why, because the correct international usage of this is vertex form. But this is how the type of questions will come. All you have to do here is complete the square. Yeah, so you just write this here now. 4x squared minus 8x minus 3, and you complete the square. What to do from here, so I decided to just skip ahead and do this, right? If you don't know how I went from here to here, right, remember this technique is completing the square. Yep. And we would have done a bunch of these questions before. So please do not ask. Well, you could ask in the comment section, but just know that I will tell you the same thing. Go back 3 videos. If you don't know how to go from here to here, please follow the series. You all will, you trust me, and not wasting your time. Right? So go back and you will see how to do that, right? So this is the perfect square form here. So what we have to state here now when we reach this level is you have to state that A is equal to 4, H is equal to -1, and K is equal to -7. Yeah, now just take note of something. In the general form, A is 4. In the completed square form or in the vertex form, A is also 4. So the A's don't change. H and K are the new numbers in this, right? But note, this method is called completing the square, right? This method, completing the square, right? This method, completing the square is one of 3 techniques. I probably have more, but I use 3 main techniques. Is one of 3 techniques to rewrite ax squared plus bx plus c as a into x plus h squared plus k. Right. So this is one way to rewrite it. Right. The other 2 ways are right. The other methods, right? And you can look down across the series and I will show you the other methods there. Method 2 is what we call the formula method, which personally I don't like, but you could use it because it is accepted in both maths and add maths. And similarly, 3, this is a fair method here, is what we call the expand and compare method. Right? Both of them, your teachers may show you it eventually. I will do it as well, and it get checked down into one of the later videos, but I'm not doing them right now. I want to stress the importance and the ease of completing a perfect square. Right? So this here is what we call the vertex form. So today we learn how to identify the vertex form, how to change from general form. Remember, this is general form, right? How to change from general form into vertex form, right? This here is what we call vertex form, right? And actually, just to change this topic here is not really, we didn't deal with this part here, right? So we will just call this section here today vertex form, right? The next session now will be the one where we're dealing with using vertex form to sketch a quadratic curve. Yeah, so I'm not taking a little bit longer on this video than I thought I would, but that's perfectly fine. I am okay with that because this is for the betterment of everybody. Right, so that's it for today. As with everything else, look out at the worksheet and look under session 20 and you will see the questions for this session. Right, so that is it for this session. I will see you all in the next video where we learn how to apply vertex form to sketch a curve. So until then, everybody, take care and stay safe.